Teammate given you any advice?
No, actually, I've trained several times with Matthew on these roads. We came down a few weeks ago and we rode the Cipressa and the Poggio, and it was nice because he was sort of recounting how it went down for him and how he was able to win the race. So yeah, I'll be able to do the same thing for him next time we ride train on these roads again.
No, devo dire di no, in realtà con Matthew ci siamo allenati un po' di volte su queste strade, proprio qualche settimana fa siamo venuti insieme alla Cipressa, sul Poggio, ed è stato bello perché lui mi raccontava com'era stata la sua corsa l'anno scorso e come l'ha vinta, e mi sono detto d'accordo, questa prossima cercherò di fare del mio meglio per vincerla io.
Ok, prima domanda.
First question.
Gerrans.
Fabiano è stato il più forte e tu è stato il più furbo.
So Fabian was the strongest and you've been the surest.
Yeah, without question, Fabian was the strongest. I can't deny him of that. He was going like a motorbike. Really, he followed Nibali and myself on the Poggio, and then he drove it across the top. He's one of the best descenders in the peloton, and so he drove it down the descent. I was losing the wheel often coming out of the corners, but chasing each time. And then he was really committed to driving the breakaway all the way to the finish line. I was able to give him one short turn there with a little over a kilometre to go, and then he come past me again like a motorbike. So I was confident the breakaway was going to go all the way to the finish, and I knew what I had to do to finish the hard work off and just come past him in the final.
No, certamente non posso negare che Fabian era il più forte, andava veramente come una motocicletta, ha seguito Nibali e me lungo la salita del Poggio, poi ha superato il Poggio e senz'altro il miglior discesista, quindi spesso io ho perso la sua ruota e gli stavo alle costole, e lui veramente si era impegnato a tirare il trio di testa, e ad un certo punto però ho capito che ero davvero fiducioso che ci avrebbe portato alla fine, e ad un certo punto ho deciso di attaccare perché sapevo come finire per primo e ci ho dato dentro.
Okay.
Simon, congratulations. Can you tell us what the chances you entering this new GreenEdge team? What does it mean to win this race with an Australian team?
I couldn't ask for a better way to win with GreenEdge. It's such an exciting new project, and I think this is just the best way possible. I can thank the likes of Jerry Ryan and the Ryan family for supporting this project, and also the likes of Shane Bannon, who's worked so hard to put this whole team together. So we started out well in Australia, and now to win the sort of Milano-Sanremo, one of the monuments of cycling, I think this is a perfect way of saying thank you to those guys. So I couldn't be happier for the team to get this victory.
Devo dire che non potrei immaginarmi un modo migliore per aver vinto questa corsa con questa squadra australiana che rappresenta davvero un nuovo progetto eccitante. Non c'è miglior modo anche per ringraziare sia tutta la famiglia Ryan che Shane Bannon, che ha lavorato duro per mettere insieme questa squadra. Quindi già in Australia andavamo bene, vincere la Milano-Sanremo forse è il ringraziamento perfetto che io posso fare nei confronti della squadra.
Okay.
So, congratulations. Some may think that it is a stolen victory, maybe. You being in the wheel from the top of Poggio to -30.
Yeah, but that was my role in the team. We had the defending champion in Matthew Goss. If it was going to come back together for a sprint, Goss was our main guy, and my position was to follow the breakaways. I think obviously I wasn't as strong as Fabian, I'll be the first to admit that, but that's not always the strongest guy who wins the race. You also have to, play a little smart and be there. Like I said, Fabian was very committed to driving this breakaway right to the finish, and I did what I could to stay there. Like I said, I gave a turn across the top of the Poggio, and I gave it another short turn coming into the final, but I wasn't going to really fully commit to driving on the front, especially when we had a guy like Nibali sitting on the back. But I just did what I had to do to get to the finish, and I had the fastest turn of speed in the final.
Ma qualcuno sostiene che tu abbia un po' rubato la vittoria perché sei stato a ruota di Cancellara durante tutta la discesa e ti sei lanciato negli ultimi 20 metri. Ma onestamente il mio ruolo per la squadra era proprio quello lì, cioè se Goss fosse stato nello sprint finale avrei lasciato andare lui, ma il mio compito era quello di seguire i fuggitivi se ce ne fossero stati. E ho già detto, Fabian si è impegnato a condurre il gruppo in fuga durante tutta la fuga finale e io ho fatto un brevissimo turno davanti, ma poi in effetti non ero impegnato completamente per guidare la fuga. Però nel momento in cui insomma, ho fatto quello che dovevo fare e ho ottenuto la vittoria.
Prego.
Simon, can you give us a little insight to how you and Matthew saw the race develop from La Manière up into the Cipressa and what you guys had talked about during the race?
To be honest, we didn't talk a lot during the race. Our plan for the day was, like I said, for me to be there on the Cipressa and the Poggio to follow any dangerous attacks, and Matt was to be there if there was a group come to the finish line. I was quite surprised because we didn't race the Cipressa or the beginning of the Poggio at a very fast pace, so I thought there was a good chance the group would come back together if there was attacks, but like I was quite surprised that we were able to go all the way to the finish line, but like I said, that was courtesy of Fabian with the strength he had in the final. It was incredible.
Ma puoi dirci qualche cosa da come tu e Matti avete visto lo svolgersi della corsa a partire dalle mani e poi la cipressa? Onestamente non abbiamo parlato molto. Certo, avevamo già progettato che io avrei dovuto seguire che chi avesse portato un attacco pericoloso durante la cipressa e il poggio e Matthew se invece ci fosse stato un attacco di tutto il gruppo. E in effetti, dato che non andavamo così velocemente, ho pensato che il gruppo si sarebbe di nuovo compattato. Invece mi sono abbastanza sorpreso, non avrei detto che sarei arrivato in fondo per primo, soprattutto per la forza e la potenza di Cancellara.
Ok.
Matthew, winning Tour Down Under Milano-Sanremo brings you on another level as a professional rider. How much extra motivation do you have this year to come out for an Australian team?
I thought it was always going to be very important to start the season in good shape with a new team and the team searching for a sponsor. So I worked quite hard in the Australian summer to prepare for the January races, and since then I've just sort of been actually back things quite often and with the objective of coming into my best shape for the Ardennes Classics. So this is quite a surprise to be in the condition to be winning here, but it means a lot, to get this victory, and it's obviously my stature in the peloton is sort of increasing with these wins, so I'm really pleased.
No, senz'altro devo dire che per me era molto importante essere in buona forma, soprattutto all'interno di una nuova squadra, alla ricerca di sponsor. Quindi io mi sono dedicato durante l'estate australiana a prepararmi per le prime corse di gennaio e per essere al migliore della forma per le grandi classiche. Ripeto, è stata abbastanza una sorpresa per me essere così in buona forma e naturalmente vincere questa corsa non può che elevare anche la mia statura e il mio profilo all'interno della squadra.
Ok, Vive.
Complimenti, volevo solo chiederti da cortesia se ci puoi raccontare un po' di te, come hai iniziato a andare in bicicletta, quali sono, se ne hai, i tuoi modelli fra i grandi corridori del passato, insomma, se ci racconti un po' della tua vita, grazie.
First of all, congratulations. Could you tell us something about your life, how you began biking, if there's any great models among the big cyclists from the past? Tell us something about your life.
I actually got into cycling in a bit of a different way. Growing up in Australia, I was doing all sorts of sports, but my main sport was motocross. And at 15 and then again at 16 years old, I fell and injured my knee, and I had to have 2 knee reconstructions, and I actually started cycling for the rehabilitation for my knee. And at the time where I was living, one of my neighbours was Phil Anderson, and Phil introduced me to cycling, and he was my first coach, and he introduced me to competitive cycling and to racing. So without Phil, it's pretty safe to say that I wouldn't have taken up cycling. And since that moment I first started cycling, I fell in love with the sport and haven't looked back.
E devo dire che il mio avvicinamento al ciclismo è un po' diverso dal consueto, perché in Australia praticavo molte discipline sportive, ma in realtà era il motocross la mia disciplina. Però a 15-16 anni mi sono fatto male a un ginocchio, una lesione al ginocchio con 2 interventi al ginocchio, e durante la riabilitazione uno dei miei vicini era proprio Phil Anderson, che mi ha iniziato al ciclismo, è stato il mio primo coach al ciclismo competitivo, quindi a quel punto mi sono innamorato del ciclismo e sono andata avanti.
Andrew.
Yeah, Simon, talk us through over the Poggio and down into the finale. I mean, it's such a dynamic race, everything happened so fast. Just kind of talk us through what was going through your mind and just describe that sensation flying down the Poggio, knowing you had a small gap and knew that you were just coming back.
We worked really hard. We attacked really hard there in the final of Poggio. Nibali was the first to make the move, and I was there following right away. And then I sort of gave her one turn across the top of the Poggio, and Fabien come past me, and he really drove it from there and down the descent. He's one of the, like I said earlier, he's one of the best descenders I think in the peloton. So he was really driving it down the descent and accelerating really hard out of all the corners. So it was a big effort just to stick with him on that downhill. So basically, what was going through my mind was, for that first part there, was just hang on to Fabien, and then reassess when we got to the bottom of the Poggio. At that point, I looked back and I saw we had a significant gap, and like I said, he was very committed to driving this breakaway all the way to the finish. So then I just sort of did what I could to stay there. Gave him one small turn there, and then coming to the final, I just sort of knew what I had to do to win in a sprint, and so I was sort of just had the legs to come past him really, and I did what I had to do to win the race.
Dunque, ci puoi raccontare che questa discesa così veloce, anche con un gruppo così vicino alle spalle, la discesa dal Poggio, cosa ti è passato per la mente? Beh, in effetti abbiamo immediatamente attaccato subito con Nibali, che è partito per primo e che io ho seguito a ruota. Come ho già detto, gli ho dato un piccolo scambio, e poi in cima Cancellara è arrivata tutta a birra e ci ha superato, e come ho già detto è uno dei migliori discesisti di questo plotone, accelerava anche sulle curve, era difficile stargli dietro, ma il mio obiettivo era rimanergli attaccato. Alla fine del Poggio ho visto che lo scarto con il resto del plotone era significativo, Cancellara si era impegnato a portare la fuga al finale, per cui a quel punto, avvicinandoci al finale, io ho fatto quello che dovevo fare per vincere la corsa.
Okay.
So before today, several of your big wins had already marked you out as a very tactically astute rider. So firstly, do you see yourself as one of the craftiest men in the bunch? And secondly, where does this strong tactical sense come from?
It's hard to say why I'm sort of tactically strong, but really it's not too often that I get to the finish in the position to go for a victory. So obviously I want to make the most of these opportunities, and I have a sort of a little bit of speed when it comes to a small group for a sprint final. So I guess I'm sort of pretty good at analysing the situation and making the most of what I have. I know I'm not the biggest engine in the peloton, but with the sort of some all-round abilities, every now and then I get to race for a win, so I try and make the most of that situation.
Ma devo dire che non so da dove venga questa mia astuzia tattica, questa mia potenza tattica, perché non sovente io mi ritrovo in una posizione sul finale per cui posso lottare per la vittoria, ma nel caso in cui mi ci ritrovi, come è stato per oggi, faccio del mio meglio per trarre il massimo dalla situazione. Sono piuttosto brava evidentemente ad analizzare come stanno le cose.
Ok, Jerome, facciamo l'ultima domanda.
I just really tried my best to recover. I finished. I had a crash in Paris-Nice about halfway through the race, and that made it difficult for the rest of Paris-Nice. And then also I come down a little bit sick after the race also. So I was just doing quite a few just easy rides and just doing what I could to recover. But all the hard work was done sort of in the pre-season, and then Paris-Nice was a hard race. So obviously worked pretty hard during Paris-Nice and just managed to recover for this weekend really.
Cosa hai fatto quella settimana dopo la Parigi-Nizza? Beh, ho fatto del mio meglio per recuperare, tra l'altro ho avuto una caduta a metà di questa corsa tappe, per cui è stato abbastanza difficile per me il resto della corsa, cioè la Parigi-Nizza, ero anche un po' malata alla fine, per cui ho fatto veramente del mio meglio per recuperare, anche con qualche pedalata, ma insomma molto leggera.
Ok, last one.
Simon, you told us that you are good in analyzing a situation. What would you have done when you were Fabio Cancellara?
Well, obviously Cancellara, once we committed to being off the front there, he's he was racing he was very much racing for the victory, but maybe he underestimated me a little bit in the final, and by driving and doing so much work on the front of the group, he was obviously, like I said, committed to getting the breakaway to the final, but he obviously thought he had enough also to finish it off with the win. But yeah, I think maybe all Fabian did was probably underestimate myself just a little bit in the end.
Ma se sei così bravo tatticamente, se fossi stato Cancellara, dato che capisci così bene le situazioni, cosa avresti fatto? Beh, come ho già detto, Cancellara si era veramente impegnato per portare la fuga al finale, e ovviamente correva per la vittoria. Forse mi ha sottostimato un po'.
Bene, grazie a tutti, buona serata e complimenti a
Thank
Fabio.
you everyone and congratulations.
Thank you. It's impressive.